Hey YouTube, it's holiday season, which means there are $99 drill promos just about everywhere you look these days. So let's go through them and find out which one is best for you today on Tinker with Tools. Now this is actually going to be the third year in a row that I've done a video about the $99 drill specials that you see around the holiday season. And that's because this is easily one of my favorite times of the year for getting into a different brand if you've always wanted a chance to get into it. The $99 drill specials that I am talking about are going to be a full kit where you're going to get a drill and at least one battery and a charger for $99 or less as we're finding this year. Now here where I live, there are two main stores that sell tools, and that is going to be Lowe's and Home Depot. So we're going to go store by store and talk about the different promos they have, but then we're also going to mention deals that you can find at other stores like Harbor Freight and even some on Amazon. But let's go ahead and get started with the deals that are going to be over at Lowe's. Now, first over at Lowe's, we're going to be talking about the Skil 12 volt. This is by far the best value you're going to find out there because this kit, a single battery kit, is going to be coming in at just $44.98, basically half of what a lot of these drills are. Now, it is a single battery kit, just one 2 amp hour battery. The drill is a 3/8 inch drill chuck, so there are going to be some limitations power-wise in what this drill can do. But if you just need a basic kind of around the house drill, or if you even just want to add on a second drill and have something lighter, this is really going to fit that bill. Next up, we're going to be talking about the brand that you're going to see just all over your local Lowe's, and that is going to be Craftsman. Luckily this year, we actually are getting their RP lineup for that $99 price point with the RP drill driver. This is going to be a single battery kit with a 2 amp hour battery for $99. These are basically rebranded prior generation DeWalt's, and so there is some good there. And this was definitely a step forward for the RP lineup. I just don't think that it is going to be the best value that you're going to find on the table today. Now, talking about value, that is what this next brand brings with Kobalt and their $79 single battery drill kit for what they used to call their next generation tool. This is actually kind of not their top offering. They still do have the XTR, so it's going to be the kind of mid-tier, but because it is a 24 volt platform, it is going to be a little bit on the heavier side, so just kind of factor that in. Next up, we're going to be talking about Metabo HPT, and this is one brand that, at least in the stores around me, they've really kind of scaled back their in-store presence, but I have still found decent access to them online. Right now though, in Lowe's, you can go ahead and pick up a 2 battery kit of this DS18DX, kind of their mid-tier drill driver, and this is going to be $99. This is, I think, maybe the only 2 battery kit that you're going to be getting. Having a second battery that you can keep on the charger, I think that really provides some additional awesome value and something that you just don't get with just about any other brand here. So it is kind of starting you out with a leg up on a lot of these other deals. Last, over at Lowe's, we're going to be talking about the Flex. This is the compact drill driver, and this is a pretty good value at $99. This is a tool that kind of came out halfway through that first generation and really was a good reduction in size for flex tools, which have kind of always been a little bit on the heavier side. Now, they do bring some performance with that, but this is definitely one that I think was a nice welcome addition to their lineup because it gave you something a little bit more compact. From everything I've heard, they're no longer going to be carried in store in Lowe's. I don't know if that means that they're not going to be carried online as well. And so I don't know what it means for the future of the brand, but they do make some solid performing tools. So if you want to pick something up, right now might be a good opportunity at your local Lowe's. Now, the one last tool that I do want to mention that unfortunately I don't own is going to be the Bosch deal that they have right now. And it is going to be a $79 single battery drill driver, but it is decently compact and still feels pretty well made. Unfortunately, I don't own this drill, but I did want to mention it so you're aware of it. That is out there. It is also going to be available on Amazon as well. So I'll be sure to have links for that in the description down below. All right, now I did mention we're going to be talking about one tool from Harbor Freight, and that is going to be, we are talking about the Hercules drill, because as they always kind of do, right now they are still running their $97 drill driver promo, where you get the Hercules brushless drill driver with a 2.5 amp hour battery and charger for $97. Now, in the testing tonight and on the table, this is actually the hammer drill version, but the performance is going to be the same. Just some of the weight might be a little bit heavier with the hammer mechanism in here, so kind of just factor that in. This is, on paper, the most competent drill that you're going to be getting, and it still does come with that 5-year warranty, so I think there's a lot of upside to this drill. We'll just have to see how it kind of stands out against the crowd. All right, now moving over to Home Depot, we're going to be talking about the main tools that you can get over there. And really, this is going to be much focused on the TTI trifecta. And you are going to be seeing a lot of similarities between these three drills. This is going to be the Ryobi HP compact drill, the Ridgid subcompact drill, and the Milwaukee M18 compact drill. Now, these tools are going to be available at single battery kits for $79, $89, and $99. So you can kind of see a theme here. This one has 450 inch-pounds of torque. This one has 500, this one has 550. Tool brands do this when they own multiple different brands underneath kind of a parent umbrella, where you kind of have the DIY, the mid-tier, and then kind of the professional level tool. And that is certainly on full showcase here today with the way they've kind of staggered these promotional prices. Now, one last note about the Milwaukee here. The example I have on the table, I actually swapped the chuck from the chuck that comes included with it for one that came off of an M12 fuel hammer drill. When you purchase this though, that is just going to come with the standard chuck. I never had issues with it gripping bits or anything like that. The outside of it just felt kind of slippery on the one I got, so I just wanted to upgrade it. That's one thing I did in a past video. If you're interested, I'll be sure to have that link down below. Last but not least, we're going to be talking about the only hammer drill that you can get at that $99 or under price point, and that is going to be the M12 fuel hammer drill. Once again, Milwaukee has this on sale for $99. It is a single battery kit with a single CP 2.0 battery, and it's a great way to get into a good platform by buying in with some deal like this. All right, now with all the drills introduced, let's go ahead and review some of just the different specs for these, including weight and length. We'll talk about that, and then I'm just going to jump right into some basic performance testing to kind of show you what some of the differences are between these tools. Okay, so when it comes to performance testing, one thing I want to be perfectly clear here is, for the most part, all of these drills are grouped very tightly in terms of performance. If I factor out the worst performer overall, which was the Skil 12 volt, which came in at 21 total, almost 22 total seconds of performance time, and kind of squish everything else together in the middle, you're going to be ranging from almost 10 seconds up to just barely over 13 seconds. So there's just not a lot of spread between these. There's a lot of performance similarities in these $99 drills, and so that's one thing that I want to ring true. But when it comes to actual performance, one that truly stood out as being just one of the top performers was going to be the Flex Compact. It is a really strong drill. It's a bit on the heavy side, but performance-wise, you can't knock it. It really kind of comes through. Now, another one that's a little bit surprising because it just doesn't have the specs on paper to really stand out, but that is going to be the M18 Compact. It didn't necessarily finish right at the top, but it was just a solid performer. And one of the things that I think this tool does a really good job is, instead of stalling out like maybe what you saw on one of the drill bits with the Craftsman RP, it will just kind of hang on and the motor bogs down, but it does not give up as easily as what a lot of the tools are out there. One that was a little surprising for me is down on that 2.5 amp hour battery. I just don't think that the Hercules really shines. This is the most competent, powerful drill that we have on the table today. But when you put it on such a compact battery, I really think the performance level you get is kind of just on par with a lot of the other drills that are here. And so that's something of note. But when you do put that on like a 5 amp hour or even on their 8 amp hour battery, you do get a lot more performance out there, and it is a lot more powerful. So if you need a drill that's going to be able to push through and do just a lot, that is definitely one that does do a little bit better. Now, in terms of compactness, obviously, the two 12 volt variants are definitely going to be some of the more compact ones that you try, and they are different styles. This is going to have the slide style battery pack, so ergonomically, it is still going to have a very nice ergonomic handle, but overall the drill is going to be less compact because it's sitting on top of that battery, and so it's going to be more along the size of some of these, definitely the 18 or 24 volt. The M12 is going to be the most compact drill, but having the stem style pack that goes up into the handle does create a handle that is maybe not the most ergonomically comfortable for a lot of people, so definitely something to consider there. It kind of blends in really well, still having some decent performance, having that lifetime service agreement with, then they use some lighter weight materials, so it may not be quite as rugged as some of these, but it still does pack enough performance and it is just truly compact and lightweight. All right, now before we get to kind of some final conclusions or recommendations, let's talk about some of the omissions that are not here tonight. And really it revolves around two different brands. First, DeWalt, which is sold at both Lowe's and Home Depot and also online, does not have a $99 drill special this year. They do have a $119 drill special with a single battery kit at both stores. And then last but not least, Makita just does not have any interest in being in this. Now, best in class for me are the ones that I'd recommend the most. I think it really comes down to two different drills, one from each store. And the Flex Compact, really impressed with the performance in here. I wish the brand were selling better because I think there is a lot here, and I'd love to see what kind of that second generation holds for some of these tools, because I do think they were listening and started to make a little bit of improvement with some of their tools as we saw kind of second iterations come out. And then last, Milwaukee over at Home Depot, I think is just a standout tool, because it is truly one of the more compact ones here, still packs a really nice performance and definitely maybe even stronger than what some of the numbers suggest when you put them on comparison to some of these others. It's by no means the highest torque figure here, but this drill just kind of hangs on, and especially when you put it up on some of those better batteries. These are what I would kind of consider to be my two best performers when it comes to how they're doing, especially for the price. All right, now as you can see, there's going to be some personal preference in these drills, so I want you to let me know in the comments down below which of these tool deals would be the most interesting to you or most compelling. Let me know if you've taken advantage of any of the deals that are out there. Now, I'm going to have links below to where you can purchase any of these tools. Now, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Make sure to turn on notifications so you get notified when I put out a new video. And until next time, I will catch you on Tinker with Tools.